lot of new guys in the room trade, and I caught myself the other day where I'm like, oh, what a degenerate, you know? But meanwhile, I'm kind of playing the same way right now. That's kind of my style right now. And what I mean by that, yeah, it feels good. It does feel good at times. You know, you got to let your hair down on Chero once in a while. You got to let your hair down. But um, for those of you who were around on Sunday, you pretty much have an idea what we're going to discuss today. Just a little more detail because we have some of the evidence in front of us here, and we actually had a down session, if you want to call it. Was the NASDAQ even down today? Did the NASDAQ? I don't even know. I'm curious. It was up? You got to be kidding me. You got to be. So that's like up. All right. So it wasn't really even a down day, but we have, a little pullback intraday session to talk about and see how we're going to handle things as we get closer to earnings season. I think this is kind of what we have in store for us for the probably another week or two. And what I mean by that is, barring some shock, right? Like you can see today, you got a little negative vaccine news. That's not going to do it. There's going to be a need for people to alter course. There's got to be something big for them to alter course, and that's going to have to come out of left field where players aren't prepared for it. And the likelihood of that happening over the next week or so, it was slim. Is it possible? Of course, it's possible. But what I'm getting at here is people are so involved in this scramble for exposure into earnings, right? We got elevated gamma. You got all these forces at play now to where I don't see how they let things fall too far over the next couple of weeks. And I guess you could say that's where the opportunity lies. If you get a pullback like today, you look for some things that may be pulling back with the market and look for an opportunity there. The problem is the stuff that we want to get into, they don't pull back. Everybody's on the same script. Everybody's on the same script. So, like, for example, you want to file into Zoom for an earnings run up and you want to get in early, over the next couple of weeks, they're starting to do that. On Netflix, which is the first to report, went through some negative news. I thought like Netflix had a little stretch there where there was negative news. Obviously, it didn't affect the stock much. Roku. So you guys know all the names we like, right? There's a gazillion of them. That's what it was so laughable when you had people on Twitter talking about only FANG going up for that whole entire rally off the lows. There are a ton of names, a ton of these growth names, new economy names that, everybody wants to own. And, we're at that point now where people want exposure, players want exposure for these names into earnings, especially these funds that may not have enough of them. I mean, some of these funds rotated out of these names because they were looking at that cyclical rotation. Remember, we were looking at stuff where the QQQs had huge outflows and they were rotating, out of tech into the cyclicals. So, a lot of this, I would say probably over the last week or so, a lot of this rally has been, kind of the undoing of that. And, we probably have more to go. All right. So again, here's the problem we faced. There were a ton of names, right, especially underbelly names, like I see a couple of you mentioning, even a Roku, that look really good. They were at, terrific spots on a risk-reward basis, even for just a trade, okay? They had a little bit of a breather to them. Like, look at even PayPal. I couldn't get over, like, PayPal was stuck here sideways. right? And they sniffed that out. So we had a lot of setups that were half decent, for what we want to look for, that tactical trade. Now, one by one, they're leaving the station and then some, right? You have things exploding, the nets of the world. And, oh my God. I didn't even realize I had another day like this today. I knew it was up, But, little by little, these things are leaving, and some of the early winners are the strongest, right? The D-Dog, which quite a few of you caught nicely. So now, here's the question we face, over the short term. And again, we got to go on a day-by-day basis and look at the evidence in front of us, make sure the sweeper activity is still there, make sure the momentum is still there. But for the interim, what are we going to do? Are we going to look to chase, some of these names? And what I mean by chase is off intraday dips. So in other words, a D-Dog, you may get tomorrow down $2 or a couple bucks, and then you see some sweeper activity in it, and us feeling confident that they're going to support these things over the next week or two, we can get in it for a trade. Like, that's my chasing. I'm not chasing up 5 D-Dog here. That's my definition of chasing. Or you wait and try to find, or you're basically hoping sweepers find some of these underbelly names that maybe didn't participate as much. They aren't as stretched as much, and you could get lucky and find some names. We've been finding a lot of them, but a week is a big deal in a rally like this because a lot of them are gone now. But it's possible they can find, like, I'll give you an example today, right? RKT. Okay? So you had a rally off the lows there. But if you like this name, this is not that extended. You know what I'm saying? This is not that extended. So this may be something that interests you, right? They didn't have a big blowout quarter last quarter, and there could be some excitement going into this quarter, that sort of thing. So, it's either of the two. When I talk to traders that, we talk about this shit ad nauseum every day, but I talk to traders and it's almost 50-50. They have a preference playing the D-Dogs off a dip, or they like looking for newish opportunities and take it from there. Here's like another one that I bought. This RL, I keep screwing up the symbol. Did I get it right? Revolve. Okay. So you see what I mean? Oops. This is a little laggy and I'm not liking it. All right. So, you had a little lift off of it, but nothing major like some of, the winners we've been looking at over the past couple of weeks. And God, there's been some big winners, man. That's a beautiful combo right there, Tim. No? The dog combo. Chewy D-Dog. That's all you needed. And no complaints. There's some nice exactas you could put combos together. So you see the two, and it's a preference thing. Me personally, and for what I'm playing, like I'm playing the equity, I kind of like this style better because I feel like I have more control over things. Maybe not, I don't have to worry about that deep of a drawdown to where if I try to dip by a D-Dog, I got to try to stay loose. And I can be a little early in there, and that can be painful if you're trying to do what we're doing right now, and that's utilize a stop loss and protect downside, right? The other thing is, we can't be afraid. I mentioned this earlier. Like we can't be afraid of losing some money here, right? We already know, and the reason why we're playing like this and staying tactical is because we don't have sentiment on our side. We don't have a lot of things that we've had on our side throughout almost all of this rally It's just not there anymore. All right. And there's still action out there. There's still sweeper activity out there. There's still some huge winners out there for us to try to take advantage of. But we just got to be smart about it, and we can't risk, the same that we were risking when we did have all that edge. All right, so we understand that, but that doesn't mean we want to, walk away in a sense. Because I don't know about you guys, I've been playing pretty conservatively, and I've been talking to you guys. You guys have been knocking the cover off the ball, compared to what I'm doing. But even me playing the equity and being quick and all, it's been worth it, right? It's been worth it. It's not like it's not worth it taking a conservative approach. It's worth me, getting caught in a name and running maybe into 2 stop losses in a row, right? It's worth it. The one thing, as I mentioned today, when that put the call got scary early in the morning there, then we had, a decent wash, cooled it off a bit. But when the put the call was scary, the main takeaway from that is we don't want to get buried. All right, we don't want to get buried. That's what this, the sentiment stuff, that's what it allows us to prepare and get situated before trouble may arise. All right, we don't want to get caught. The best way to put it is we don't want to get caught with a basket at this point here. All right, and that's it. And like I said, it's worth playing. So if we look at where we stand right now, and again, we looked at a lot of this Sunday, but there's some Twitter folk on here, and maybe a few of you that weren't on the Sunday webinar. But here's the Goldman rundown. Okay. And it's almost like clockwork. Every time I talk to you guys, it seems, we got this to worry about here, right? The short-term option related, momentum related indicators are scorched. Let me tell you something. The options, I don't remember seeing anything like this. I'm being honest with you. I don't remember seeing anything like this. The amount of just spec action volume-wise in options. I don't know, between August and what's going on now, it's not as bad as August, but we'll get there in no time if they don't knock them upside the jaw. I don't remember anything like this. And maybe because options are so popular now, but it is insane out there. Insane. You get names like an Apple, even a name like a Neo that would trade all day, weeklies. I couldn't imagine ever seeing that type of volume in a name like a Neo. It is unreal. And by the way, it's hysterical. Right. The SoftBank, everyone's blaming SoftBank. They don't know what to blame. And then SoftBank in the Financial Times interview said, "You got to be kidding me. We're a whale. We can't move the NASDAQ." Right? Their quote was, "We're not even a dolphin in this ocean, let alone a whale." So like SoftBank was downplaying the whole thing. So it's probably a mixture of everything. Retail money, just more even professional money in the options market. Like we hear about the equity volume being abysmal time and time again, right? But that's not the case in the options market. Volume is nuts in the options market. All right. So anyway, what I was getting at is today helped a little bit, even though the NASDAQ was flat. Any sort of uneasiness is going to have them chill out. The problem is when you get multiple days of upside, and especially the winners that were out there involved, you're going to get, I think there's no question about it, you're going to get this type of options activity that's going to create a lot of heat. When you get this like little lift here, that's it. So the best thing that can happen is they hit them a little bit here, right? Even with a bout of volatility. Doesn't take much. They're all in weeklies, guys. They're all in 1 week, 2 weeks out. That's where all their money is. So they can get knocked out of the box in the snap of a finger. But at the same time, I don't know I don't even care, to be honest, if I want that now going into earnings season. I'll be dead straight with you. I was thinking about this, over the last week, because as I mentioned to you guys, if you look at my option swing account, it looks like I'm preparing for a crash, right? Like I'm in all cash. And I'm not that bearish, but it's just where we are now, right? So we have no help from sentiment. Okay. Short-term sentiment scorched. We're going into earnings season. The election's coming up. So like all these things, I feel good where I'm at. I feel good where I'm at and what I'm doing right now. I don't need the added stress right now of sizing into a position and dealing with all these variables. All right, so that's what's going to take. They either got to get punched in the jaw with the short term, and that can loosen things up through earnings season if you guys are rooting for that. Otherwise, it's kind of we're playing musical chairs here. And we're going to get this similar style tape and order flow that we've been seeing up until probably Netflix reports. That's usually how it works. And then it's going to be like a case-by-case basis. Depending on how earnings look that night, will probably dictate where the market and the momentum is that particular next day. They could even rotate back and forth. What you may see is if there's tech that underperforms earnings-wise, they may use that to rotate money into some of the cyclical names, right? Even some of the junk to squeeze them for a couple of days. A Boeing, that sort of thing. And then if tech earnings are great and there's a nice reaction to it, that's when tech will have its day. So that's when we're in the hands of the earnings gods. But, we're not there yet. We still got, I keep forgetting, Netflix is what, in another week or so? Right around there, right? Let's see. The 20th? Oh, the 20th. Oh, so this is, I don't have the earnings on here. Next Tuesday. Okay. Again, not saying it has to end there. We're just in the hands of the earnings gods at that point. And, we don't know, obviously, how the reaction to earnings are going to be. But the names, you could see the names that we all like, they're so appetizing on any dip. Any dip, these things are rocket ships. They're rocket ships. And they got the earnings, too. They got the growth. So, everybody's on the same page. One more thing I wanted to mention to you guys. I'm trying to remember what it was. Hold on. Oh, so the other thing, too, of usually how this ends. So let's just say we don't get any sort of pullback that keeps everybody in check. And we sort of just grind it out through earnings season or into the heart of earnings season. You usually have a sell the news type event, right? Just like earnings. If you remember, what was it? Was it Zoom at the time? I remember a lot of these names ran up till earnings. They went nuts and then they reported and then there was some weakness there, right? So you usually get that even with the overall market when you get into this chase for exposure type of environment. All right. And because right now that's what it is. I don't even think there's an unusual amount of buying coming in. I don't think that's the case. I think it's actually a seller strike out there. We discussed this. So in other words, let's say you're holding on to Zoom, right? Why would you sell it now, hold the earnings run up, and then try to milk a little bit more out of it, then dump it? No, right? Like, why would the market, if you were looking to short, would you be looking to short now with possible vaccine news, possible stimulus news, all that ahead of you? No, you would wait. A lot less risk if you wait for that to come out, right? That's out of the way now. You want to know exactly how it is? You remember the trade war? You remember the infamous trade war? That's where we're at. What happened to the trade war? Doesn't matter anymore. All right, the trade war, when we got to the end of it, the market continued to rally and rally and rally and rally and rally until he signed the freaking deal. And then we went into a little pull. I don't know if you guys were around the Trump taxes. The market rallied and rallied and rallied all the way till his pen hit signing those taxes into law. And then as soon as he did, that was one of the worst corrections we had. That was the one into Christmas where Powell tried to play hardball and then had to do what he had to do. 2018, I get my year screwed up. That's what it was, 2018. So I think we're in a similar situation here. You know, nobody in their right mind is going to try to short this and get run over by imminent vaccine news. You know what I mean? Like, there's a good possibility that there's going to be news. We come in one morning, there's going to be news that there was approval for some vaccine. This is the period of time that everyone was, you know, factoring, right, that news in. So the likelihood is we get it, and I don't think it's going to be a good thing when we get it for the markets. I really don't. I think you're seeing right now all the good. We're seeing it in front of us. So anyway, that's where we're at right now. You know, so we got a seller strike more than anything else. We're going into earnings season, and we got to try to find some tactical opportunities in the interim. All right. So what I'm actually impressed by is some of this stuff hanging in there. I don't know how long this stuff is going to hang in there. You know, I don't know how long. Usually they all get to here when it's all said and done. We'll see. But they've been stubborn. And you can see here's the overall, the dark blue diamond there, which averages all the short-term in, some of the positioning and stuff. You got a dead neutral. Okay. So that's the Goldman indicators we look at. Here's another version of it. You got risk appetite in the dark blue. This is Goldman again. Momentum in the light blue. And that momentum cooled off recently, it looked like here. The risk appetite, which is more intermediate term, the dark blue, neutral. So pretty much saying the same thing. I found this interesting out of Bova today. Cash and cash. Look at retail. Going into their pockets. It's amazing. They can't pay their bills. They buy iPhones. They trade stocks. I don't know, how do they do it? Like Houdini, they do it. I don't know how. Right, Frank? Everybody cries poverty. Going out of business, credit cards, this, that. And meanwhile, they play the market. They gamble on ball games. They take the stimulus check. They put it on the Niners, Monday Night Football. Unbelievable. Put it on the Rays to win the World Series. Son of a gun. All right, but so little by little, we're losing all this stuff. You guys know this. We've been talking about this for now. I just wanted to show you. I found that interesting, that chart. And here's another version of it. So this is speculative positions. The spec crowd. By the way, they're long. Those of you who aren't members and don't follow it as closely as we do, you got the riffraff long right now. You got riffraff and sharpies long at the same time, which is pretty rare. But the riffraff they're long right now. And let me go to that chart so I can show you. But here, if you guys can see it here, you guys can see it. We're right above that line, net long. All right. And this is one of our bread and butter indicators. Hold on, let me do this here. How do I do this? Oh. Okay. And this is where we are on the Sharpie riffraff, the main indicator. So again, you know, we had a beautiful thing over here. We don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore. Another thing, I've been at a Goldman and Morgan Stanley. I'm hearing that hedge funds have been buying the last few days. So we'll see if that when that shows up on the indicator we look at. But out of Goldman, the hedge funds that deal with Goldman and Morgan Stanley, was it Morgan Stanley or JP Morgan, one or the other, have been reporting a good amount of buying from hedge funds, which they've been selling a little portion of this rally. So let me get to it here. I know it could get confusing, but there's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there right now. You know, positioning wise, a lot of crazy stuff. Hold on. So basically, you had hedge funds selling into this. They actually did a little bit of buying into the dip, and they did some selling into this rally here. But now I'm hearing that this here was some hedge fund buying involved. Yeah, that could be. You know, they want earnings exposure and in these names, and it's a high probability it's them. High probability. All right, so that's basically the sum of everything here. You know, that's basically it. As far as action's concerned, you know, every day, we got to keep in mind now, everything's earnings, right? Especially this week. This is a tricky week. You got October expiration too. But we're looking to be tactical. We're looking to trade these things. We're not building positions in them. So you see a sweep you like at a spot you like, shoot. Okay? You're not looking, at least that's the way I act, right? So I'll give you an example of that. Let's say a position like an ACM that I help, something you know better. What's going on with this freaking chart on Zoom? Let's say plan, right? Catches the same action that it caught when a lot of us built a position in it. This go around, I wouldn't build a position. I would trade it just like the other half of you guys did anyway. Right? So now I'm not even worried. All right, it's an earnings bet. It's this, it's that. If I think it's going to generate momentum over the short term, I'm going to take a shot on plan off that activity. So I'm not doing all the legwork I would normally do if I was going to swing a position of calls. You know, I'm just looking for momentum. So the reason I bring that up is, you know, a lot of times you're going to see now on this top bet list names that are reporting earnings where usually I wouldn't put them on here. All right, but we're just trying to trade here. So I try to stick with newer names or names that maybe are down that day. I don't want to give you, unless it's a really, really good looking order and a name you guys are holding or following, that's up huge. All right. By the way, I put this on here. We don't really talk about ETFs on the top bet list, but this was a pretty big bet. Let me see if we can blow that up a little. That's as big as it gets. I can't even blow that up. Yeah, so the top one, GDX, the gold miners, you had a sweep of December 39s, and there is a chance it replaces Octobers that are expiring this week. Okay? There's been a ton of flow in GDX over the summer. So there's probably a good amount of Octobers that are sitting in open interest that are going to expire this week. But, you know, that's a big order right there. That's a sweep, December 39s, you know, so you gold bugs, you could easily get gassed up all of that. All right, that's as big as a sweep of, one order as I've seen in GDX. Here's the one that I like a bit, this RVLV. I don't know if you're going to play the options. I don't know, I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if it's worth it, for a trade. I mean, that's a judgment call. You guys got to decide. The stock for a $12 stock, I mean, $18 stock, these were in the money. You can get a trade out of it, out of the equity. But again, they bought 5,000 of these Novembers yesterday, carried over to open interest, and they hit it a couple times again today. They report 11.5. They report. So it catches earnings. Callaway Golf, this is another slower name. This is an interesting name, though. Why? Hold on a second. Maybe if I just do this. Bear with me 1 second, guys. I don't know why it's so stuck on Zoom. It's never this stuck. Must be a Zoom thing, no? Look at this. I can't even do anything to it now. That was a mistake. The freaking Long Island internet, huh? Look at this. You got to be kidding me. Maybe I just exit out. What do you think? I don't know if it's worth taking a shot next. Oh, look, spinning wheels. We got wheels spinning. We got wheels spinning. All right, let's see. All right, I think it looks a little better here. It's moving around. Moving around. All right, what name was it? Oh, Callaway Golf. Not a bad spot, because it's a slower name. Golf. Stay at home. Might get hot. Yeah, Callaway Golf. They make the clubs. They make everything. So it's kind of a social distancing play. Social distancing play. They got earnings coming up the end of this month. You know what I mean? That's the problem. I played it off. Remember Court Action about, what was it, a week or so ago? I held it for a couple of days, the equity. It didn't go anywhere, and I got out of it. I didn't rebuy it today. But it was just slow compared to some of the other stuff out there for the style I'm playing right now. It's slow. You know what I mean? Here's AMD. I know a lot of you guys like this name. That was down today, right? I think that's why I put it on here. AMD was up today? Oh, might have went green. Might have went green. You could see this thing, right? Getting a push into numbers. Didn't it do it like right before numbers the last time? Right here? Where was it? Yep. Look. Right here. So this is not that bad. I know you got the niner, but you got a little breather there compared to some of the other stuff out there, guys. I thought it was red. On a red day, it would be ideal for a trade. Ideal. They should support it. Unless the market falls apart. That's the only thing I can say. I can't see AMD going down the toilet on its own. I put this net on here because I was wondering if you guys saw the move. They're buying this net. It's not even rolls yet. They're buying this net here. Can you believe it? Like yesterday, I thought they were rolling. They didn't roll. They didn't close anything yet. How are they buying net here? Kathy's buying net. That's right. There you go. my whole frame of mind, it's hard for me to catch this winner like this. It's for like, you know what I mean? Because like, look, Niner to Niner, I thought it was a beauty. Niner to Niner. I said, how? What's wrong with that? It was up every day off the Niner. You know, coming into, I felt at the top of the range. I did not think this was happening. Not now. I really didn't think it was happening. I'm being honest with you guys. Obviously, I was wrong. Obviously, I was wrong. It blew right through it. Look at this. No sellers. That was a sign right there. Right? That was a sign right there that this thing wasn't heading back down to the lower end of the range. But unbelievable. I don't know how you sit through this unless it's your plan. You know what I mean? Unless you say, I'm buying net here with time and I'm going to give a leash to it. You know what I mean? There's no way you can sit through all this in a short amount of time like this. It's got to be your plan, Frank. If it's not your plan, you know, you're going to get really, really lucky. You're going to get really, really lucky. I don't see how it's possible. But sometimes you get lucky. Stitch Fix, this one, it was small orders all day long. They started piling up. And then Pete Nigerian picked up on it. So the volume swelled a little bit more. And closed strong too. It's a good looking stock. We've been talking about this name for a while. You know, this was one of the first names, if I remember correctly, catching action out of the crash. Remember that big action that was catching? So now, you know, you got some more buying here. Yeah, it's not the best spot in the world, obviously. If you think you could get, right, that and if you think you could get a trade out of it. You know, these are names I like to tuck away. I'm not tucking them here. I'm sorry, I can't tuck them here. I can't do it. They're going to run from here. Let them run from here. I can't tuck them away here. And Disney, they bombed this March strike into strength today. So you know I don't like that. The stock was up 4 or 5, I don't know. And they were tattooing March calls. And it could replace October's. You know, I'm not a big fan of the big gap up there either. But there was big action on that line, March calls. All right. And everything else, guys, every other name, I saw a couple of you guys even, you know, played the Zoom sweeps today and make money. You know, for Zoom, that was, right? We were talking about that. This is consolidation for Zoom. You see sweeps coming in, you think you can make a little money from them. I can't get mad at you here for the type we're playing right now. It is. They're all high. You know, all these names, all these good-looking names, you know, all the studs are just have exploded. This D-Dog too. What a beauty that was. Anybody still holding the D-Dog? No, right? You can't be still holding the D-Dog from where you guys owned it. You have stock still, Casey? Stop it. You guys are holding D-Dog? Wow. Impressive. Impressive. It's a stud. Nice job, Mike. Yeah, I mean, it's a good-looking stock, man. It's a good-looking stock. You know, earnings, the growth there is nuts. But, you know, if we happen to get some sort of yank whenever it comes, you know, these are all the names we want to look at and look for action in. You know, I know a couple of you, Bill, I don't know if you're on here, Struck. I know you mentioned this AVLR that you played off the sweep. That's another look how good looking this thing is. Oh, there was a lot of money to be made in these things, huh? A lot of money to be made in these things. Yeah, you're never happy. No matter how well you play a rally, you're never happy when you see this shit. STNE, I remember that thing was just sitting there. It wasn't even pulling back, right? Look at it, just grinding still, John. Nope, no sellers, right? We were talking over here off that Pink Panther. If it was going to come down, it would have came down here, right? It's just that grindy, grindy tilt higher. Yes, Chewy. I own a little bit of stock longer term for Chewy that I'm not even looking to sell at any point. It's left alone for my daughter. I got to own Chewy. I got 8 dogs. Come on. Yeah, the PLTR did catch action. It did catch action with time. Why is it like that? It did catch action with some time behind it. So this looks like a slow stock, though. Is it? Looks like who mentioned that? These questions go by too quick. I can't even see them. Yeah, I don't know. There better looking IPOs out there that we're looking for action. And I'll give you one of them. That's not it. What's the one letter? U. Thank you. Like, I know some of you bought it anyway. Right here when we were talking about, I was dying for a sweep right here for a trade. I was dying for a sweep right here. Dying. AMWL, I didn't buy it because of the pop. Then it was up to, what was it, 3? But I like it a lot. Again, I know some of you are in it. CYRX, this is a crazy stock, Sean. So you got to give it room because it can pull back on you and it feels like it's going to fall out of bed. But I think this is going to be a huge winner. Huge winner. Huge. It caught, some of you may remember the initial activity here and just exploded. And then this came and blew me away. And there's been some bull flow here. There was a call sweep. It looked like a little put selling today. I would try to buy it on a down day because you'll get these down days. You can see here, right? It looked like it was just going to fall out of bed. And those are the days to look to pick it off. But, it's just digesting this huge run. And this is totally normal. Looks good. Eventually I'll probably bust out of this. And God knows where it goes. It's in one of those sectors we couldn't figure out, Sean. It looked like a transportation name, but they transport drugs. Go figure. So it's like a biotech. But I hear it's the hottest thing on the face of the earth. The hottest group. New economy play. So I'm with you. I would like to get some equity. That's why I wish, Sean, we just got it too. And it happened so damn fast. I would just love a nice little correction to set these things up. There's so many names that we're interested in, right? So many names. Just a little pullback, just a little reset. Shake out some of these clumsy bulls. What do they got? The store vaccine. Yeah. That's it, Moshe. Exerco story. So it's a COVID play too, right, Moshe? It's basically a COVID play. What do you guys, I saw a couple of you guys that just scrolled up SRNE. It has news now or during the day you're talking about? It looked, Joe, I'm trying to confirm it. They hit the bid on those 50 puts. It looked like a seller to me. It's almost too good to be true. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to get my buddy to confirm it. If I do, I'll post it in the room. But that would be crazy. November 50 puts. It wouldn't shock me, though. Yeah, it's worth a degenerate play because it can move. What happened to SRNE down after hours? They'll probably buy the living daylights out of this thing if it's down at the open. Presentation? Oh, you know what it is? They might have been, they were hoping for something big out of the presentation, right? Weren't they hoping for something? Yeah, so maybe they were disappointed. But those leap buyers might come in with a bucket tomorrow. You know? But this thing, I mean, look, this thing very quietly just went from 6 to 12 again. You know what I mean? Very quietly. Like I saw somebody mention today, this thing doesn't move. It just doubled. What the hell are you guys talking about? Like, well, what do you want, a quintuple? Yeah, you gotta temper your expectations. If you want a bigger move, you gotta take it easy, relax, sit through little pullbacks and all. I mean, look at this. Look how long this little process took. There were a lot of people complaining through that too, and then this came. You know, they're buying 22 leaps. I know that's a lot of time, but they're buying it with 4 hands. 4 hands. What else? This one caught another bet today. This is another good-looking name. I know a lot of you guys like this name. This Chegg Remote Learning. I saw a few of you say you like this spot. The action was smaller, but it is definitely a better spot. Much better spot. Wow, that pulled hard. Right back to here again. You got earnings too coming, son of a gun. Remote cheating. But yeah, this Chegg, that's another name on dips. This was a nice dip too. Now, hot. LI, I played it quickly. I played this thing a couple times. I still like it. I don't own it anymore, but I still like it. I love you too, Amy. The anybody still holding on to this, or you guys flipped it? You sold it today? Yeah, I like it. I like it. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. If it wasn't Chinese, because, you know, there's added risk with it always. This thing, IPO and all, in that group, could be a biggie. But you got that added China risk, but I still think it goes higher. I still think it goes higher. So I've been trading it. Hopefully I get in again. There too, they were selling puts there today, but they were rolling. They were rolling. It was a put seller rolling his position. But a lot of nice flow in this name. What else? Verizon? No. I can't do it. I can't do it. Doesn't look too bad. I can't do it, Todd. Not with all these names out here. I can't do it. Angie, that flow was impressive. I wasn't crazy about it because they were cheap, but they really came after those Fed calls. But it's a slow mover, Dad, so be prepared, you know? Slow mover. But not a bad spot either. Not a bad spot. You know, maybe we'll see even, I mean, that's a nice pull. You know, if you're going to look at this name, that's a nice pull. You know, might be ready to start forming this side of it again. Me too, Amy. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. For options, Amy, I don't have any swings right now. I sold everything I have. I have runners that, I'm leaving alone, that I left alone. I don't have any full positions anymore. I haven't had a cash position like this in my options account since we crashed. I'll be honest with you guys. I want to see some sentiment stuff line up again. I want to see some. See, here's the problem. We had this poll, right? And don't get me wrong, it was a nice poll. There were nice names set up that were catching flow. It was too freaking quick. Remember we were talking about it, right? The last thing we wanted is just to go right back to test highs. We wanted this thing to bang around here as long as possible, right? If it goes up to here, come back and test those lows. Even break them, who cares? But this thing had to last, from September to at least into November, And what would have been ideal is if you had a consolidation that, let's say we were bumbling around here or even lower, you would have had people, all the players would have been hedged up and in protection for the election and everything else going on right now. Right now, it's the total opposite. Nobody has on any protection. They're selling their hedges, right? They're banking on a blue wave like it's Jesus Christ coming to save their lives. So now you're going into a big event like an election, again, with everything else around us, the nut job in the White House, the nut jobs trying to take the guy out of the White House, vaccines, COVID. You have so many balls in the air right now, okay? And nobody cares. That's not what we wanted. We wanted everybody concerned about it, and then we wouldn't be concerned. You understand? If everybody was positioned for a disaster out of the election, that we wouldn't know the winner, remember all the things they were talking about? Now it's the opposite. Now it's the opposite. So the risk is if there is a shock, if something does go wrong, everyone's going to have to put on protection. You know what that does? When everyone's already lathered in protection, market's not going anywhere. You saw, again, when Trump got elected, the reason why the futures crashed and then opened up the next morning before you even woke up was because everybody was already hedged. Everybody was hedged. Now, if the election was tomorrow, we're going in on the completely opposite side. Completely opposite side. You're talking about, just to put the call in general, we look at a bunch of things every weekend, you guys know, but look at like to put the call. Oh, I got it on a different screen here. Hold on. It finally curled a little bit today. We were nervous. Remember how low it got? But you have a put the call dancing on the lows. It was even lower today when we were looking at it and we got nervous. It was down here. And then the market rolled over and we bounced. That's the thing. Sharpies are an edge. But, Mike, we still got time. They've been trimming their long position. Doesn't take long, 1 week, and they could be hedged. That's another thing. You bring up a good point. You got the riffraff now covered their shorts and they're long. You know what I mean? everybody's long. Now, everybody's not max long, which is the complete disaster, but everybody's long. And what, like Amy's saying, I don't, after the rally we had this year, why would I want to stick out my neck and get aggressive, right? Put a basket of calls on the long side together and go through this with sentiment on completely the opposite side of where I want it to be. I know, Mike, I got lucky, okay? I'll be the first to admit it, because if Plan and ACM didn't click, I would have to make a decision, Mike, whether to hedge by putting on either VXX or puts, or just sit in cash. But fortunately, I didn't have to make that decision. Plan and the other guy both ended up clicking. You know what I mean? So now I don't even have to make that decision. I could just sit in cash. You know, if they didn't, ACM, they hit them with a couple missiles there. That's why I played it. That was really sharp action. They hit right here. Look. Oh no, maybe a little earlier than that, right? Oh yeah, right here. Trey, honestly, I didn't think I was getting this without even worrying about putting on hedges that quick. I didn't anticipate that, obviously. But, the action was impressive. And, the calls more than doubled, so it made my decision easy, Mike. Otherwise, I would, that's the only time I really play puts or VXX mostly, is to hedge. But cash is the best hedge. Cash is the best hedge. I like cash. It keeps you disciplined too. It keeps you disciplined. I like sitting in cash and waiting for my setup. Don't get me wrong, I'm a degenerate. That's why you see me doing what I'm doing now. I feel like a degenerate. I'm flipping equity like I'm turning a client's account. But I know that I'm not going to get caught in a rug pull and give back everything I made in this rally. It's foolish. That's the other thing you got to take into account. If you had a nice year this year, right, no matter what the upside may be from here, if you don't have your edge on your side, there's no reason to stick out your neck. If you had sentiment on your side and you wanted to go for the gusto, fine. I'm not mad at you. But, now you're going against the grain. The things you don't want to see are there. And now you're going to stick out your neck and risk a year where people, missed the rally, got eaten up alive, was short and got destroyed, and you made money. You're going to give that up now. It's foolish. In my opinion, it's foolish. Still play, participate, make a little money, enjoy it. Don't be afraid of losing as long as you're not burying yourself. Yeah, and that's the thing, Tree. You hate to use the word easy, but it's easy. When we say easy is when everything lines up, right? That we look at. When everything lines up. And that's the sweet spot. It does. It lines up. Exactly, Charlie. Exactly. And sentiment, when you have the things we look at on a daily and weekly basis, when those things are lined up with sweeper activity on your side, the probability and the odds of you finding success go up drastically. And anybody who's been, following the same stuff we're talking about for over the years will tell you the same exact thing. Tell you the same thing. When you're seeing bull missiles come over here, right, at the start of a rally when no one believes, that's where all the money's made. That's where all the money's made. And you know what it is like, sometimes I gotta force myself to buy, and I feel good about it. Exactly. 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 But it's just it's a wonderful feeling, right? When you're buying and you have the confidence in your signals that if there's any further weakness, you want to take advantage of that. You understand? Here, that's not the case, right? If we get weakness, I'm not going to be like, okay, I got to find a way to buy and add. I'm going to be like, oh shit. I hope I don't get run over here and plastered. I would never buying from here. When was this? Tim? Leap missiles. Jesus, I don't even remember that. March 18th, 2020. Oh my God. Tim keeps track of all that shit. Look at that. March 18th. One day before the lows. I don't even remember it. Because I was in my bunker thinking COVID was going to get me. I heard. DIX. So what's that mean? They're selling, Charlie? Oh, it's bullish? Back then. No, I'm talking about now. I think the opposite now, right? Right. Oh, I got you. Yep. So that's what I mean. When things are when they're selling, you're in a correction. There are signs that are there. You know what I mean? And are pretty obvious. You could see them through the noise. You just got to have your eyes open. Here I get a little nervous. Again, we're not at the point yet where like Sharpies are fully hedged or anything like that. But there's a lot of stuff I don't, the option flow right now. I'm talking about the retail stuff I don't like to see, right? Riffraff long, I never want to see. There are things I don't want to see. So not everything's there yet. That's what I'm saying. My option account wouldn't usually be in all cash right now, but I don't mind it in cash right now. I really don't. And we got to be patient. What bothers me is we had the start of a perfect setup right here. This was the worst thing that could happen. The worst. I don't even know why this did this. Why did this do this? What was the reason for it? Blue Wave, that's what I mean. Blue Wave did this? God almighty. They were shitting their pants over Blue Wave a month ago. Tim, that's not a good thing, right? People being offside here going into this election? I mean, the market's been telling us that this election, there's nothing to worry about. But you remember with the virus, what happened? Look. Okay? We had this, right? This pull. And then right here, Sharpies got hedged, fully hedged. And every indicator and its mother was against us. That's where everything had disaster written all over it. Right? And the market went to new highs. While people were dropping dead in the street in China. We were watching it on YouTube, remember? People actually physically walking and dropping dead from the virus. And, we didn't think anything would happen. And then, lo and behold, Niner and bam! So that's the way we got to look at it. Like Sharpies look at it. They were hedged here. And they don't care. The market went higher on them for another week. What do they care? They were fully hedged for this. That's all they care. So Michael, for your point that Sharpies are actually still long, which they are, but not as long. They've been cutting their exposure pretty significantly. Give it another week. Let's see. You know, they might be fully hedged in another week. Oh, what I just mentioned, Mike, what I just mentioned, basically you had Sharpies full hedged, you know, the market was still going up through that a week. The fear greed was scorched. Every intermediate term positioning indicator was scorched. Everything was scorched. Everything. Everything. Yeah. Like, look, here. Can I go back? Is it easier? Yep. Yeah. Oh, look, it was just missed. This is what I was referring to. That's when I went into all cash. Right there. You know, I wasn't waiting for no red line right there. So it just was shy of it. And then right before it, it actually got there. You know? No, I don't do it, Ani, because sometimes, you know, like let's say I would have bought puts here, you know? I guess you could buy dated puts, but you know, it doesn't always mean a crash. You know, sometimes you get pulls. I don't want to open that can of worms, Ani. You know what I mean? Sentiment trader. Yeah, that Tim. That's what my buddy thinks. That's what my buddy thinks. It's going to be something no one's even talking about that just pops up. That's what my buddy swears is going to happen. Civil War, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, SD. I wouldn't be surprised. So here is you know, here's the Sharpie long, and you know, technically they are still long, but contract wise, they chipped off. Hey, easy. They chopped off a big piece. Jules, she gets fired up. She gets fired up. Most, yeah, they cut their position tree percentage wise, their long position, they cut as the most since 2007 in 1 week. I mean, in a period of 2 weeks. Yeah, well, I agree. You know, I agree. And you know, that's why even if we saw a dip, it would be telling too. Because if we got a dip tree and they cut further, in other words, get hedged, then that's a problem. That was 2007 tree, I told you. There was a pullback. They usually buy that and they sold it. So they saw something they didn't like, you know? So we'll keep an eye on it. But like I said, the best thing is what we're doing now, Tree. You don't want to have swing positions and then at the last minute, Friday, you get an update and then you got to scramble. Who the hell wants to do that? You know, we're seeing enough now where there's enough risk out there, you know, for us not to be foolish. You know, for us not to be foolish. Yeah, Nick, it's interesting in NASDAQ, what Nick is referring to is that NASDAQ, because of the rotation amongst the rest of the crowd, the NASDAQ is where they're long and they're selling everything else. You know, and maybe that's a virus thing, Nick. Who knows? You know, maybe COVID is the reason they're going into these NASDAQ stay-at-home names and getting NASDAQ exposure. Whatever it is, we just got to keep a close eye on it. We watch it anyway, and we got to be ready to react either way, you know? No, I think, you know, in other words, what I'm saying is when you get down days, if you see sweeper activity, that's where you would want to take advantage of a bounce back type trade. I don't know about up every day. Eventually, these things do what they need to do. Like the last time, what did it do? So this is what it did last time, right? Into earnings. But it was a little choppy before that. So it depends. It depends how hot these things stay, because they report late, Alfonso. They report like this one. When's it report? December? Zoom? Because they just reported. A lot of these stay-at-home names report later. I think the trade is till Netflix reports, and then it's a day-by-day thing. Later, Tim, then if Netflix reports good earnings or bad earnings, there's a bad reaction. A lot of times they'll take down everything with it right there, Right, it's the beginning of in the hands of the earnings gods. That's what it's the beginning of. Zoom December, so you got time. So I think the dips is where we look to take advantage of for trades for the time being. But we got to take it day by day, week by week right now. Until things start to change, we'll get a better idea. Later, Ani, CRM I put in that same category. Same category. I wouldn't chase it, but you see some flow on a down day, that sort of thing. Roku's a beast. Roku just exploded here. Roku was one of the few, right, that were set up nicely. Some sideways consolidation. And then got out. Yeah, Tesla's interesting too. Tesla looks like in better shape than some of the others. You got a little lift here now, but, it's basically in consolidation. When do they report? August 21st. Oh, Ron Barron? So that's what they were maybe playing the flow. Maybe they were playing a pop off that. Short dated one. Yeah, Ron Barron. JD's a beast. Baba's a beast. These things are just, now they come into their own. Again, just if you get dips, that's where you got to look to take advantage of them. Because here, look, you got Baba up consecutive days now. There could be a pull. There could be a wash. Mike, that thing's been catching nice flow for a while. We love that one. Oh, Jules. Jules loves it too. Marvel is a stud. Marvel's a stud. Marvel is a stud. You know what else is looking good? QCOM, it's more widely held, so it's more of a grinder. But QCOM, little by little, it's up every day. Nice flow in it, too. But you see, like these, that's what I mean. Look, this was nice over here, right? All considering. You had a dip, and you had a little consolidation. Now you got lift. You understand? Now it's lift. So me personally, I want to try to find things that look a little like this right now. And then the sweeper activity, I'm hoping, is tipping me off to them lifting out of it. See, like now, Qualcomm's been catching sweepers every day. Like, what is it? What's the sweeper activity telling me? Nothing new. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, it could catch a sweep tomorrow. I'm going to buy it. Why didn't I buy the last 8 days? That's the problem. When they're here, right? Like somebody mentioned earlier, it's about tilting the odds in your favor. When you're in this type of price action, the sweeper activity is tilting the odds in your favor that it could possibly come out of it. That's what the sweeper activity, that's your edge in this climate. You're not relying on the bet being right. You're looking for momentum. You're looking for this to happen. Yeah, so now, catches today caught sweeps again. It catches sweeps every day. One of these days it's going to catch sweeps and there's going to be a pullback. It's only normal. That's the day you want to look at to maybe buy if you're not in it already. What else? Any other names quickly before we run? VRM. Do I know? Is this an IPO? What do I know this name? Oh, yeah. I know this name. What do they do? Retail? So like the other one that I like, Revolve and online cars. You got to be kidding me. Yeah, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. So I like this setup better, you know, if it could catch some decent action and hint that it maybe turns around here, you know? Baby Carvana. Speaking of baby, how's baby Peloton? Flagging a little bit here now. Pags versus 4. 4 I owned, so I'm a little biased towards it. Pags looks good. Pags doesn't look bad. 4, that was down today, right? Killer move, though. Killer move. You know, same thing, right? Another one that was set up beautifully. Look, right there. Catches the first sweep we ever saw in it, and it came out, you know? Now here, you know, it's a whole different ballgame now. Crowd, that's been on fire, that stock. Jesus Christ. I remember this crowd. Caught a missile. I don't know. What price was that missile at? 60? See all these names you guys are mentioning? How many of them? What? This is another monster, FVR. What a monster. Jesus. Monster. PSDG finally found some momentum. Finally found some juice. Looks decent. In the 30s, one channel in the 30s. I mean, come on. 150 now? Yeah, AVLR. That's the one I mentioned earlier. A couple people in the room have it off that sweep. You know, same thing. Look. Little rest. Right? And this doesn't catch a lot of sweeper activity. Be good, Frank. This doesn't catch a lot of sweeper activity. So that sweep tipped you off on a possible, some momentum coming in. I mean, this is huge move. Seriously, it doesn't catch a lot of sweeps. You're right, Samir. Kathy was buying up this PSTG. It looked like a dead dog. Wasn't doing anything. And it woke up, huh? She's got hands of gold, that lady. BHV. I love that stock, BHVN. I love it. Nice move, too. Sienna, I was looking at it today, Ronchero. The spot's not bad. The action was, I don't know what they're looking for. They were paying 10 cents, you know, like lottos. I don't know if they're trying to catch a rumor or what. Yeah. But the spot's not bad at all. You know, had a little bit of a move, nothing much. So if, I just wish it catches some better action. It might. It might. Yeah, unless maybe they got something up their sleeve. I don't know. Maybe they're looking for some news. But it's not bad. The spot's not bad at all. CLVS, I saw that. I played this once before, and I lost, well, like a scratch. I lost a little bit of money on this thing. It didn't move too much. CLVS. That's another biotech. OTRK. That's a big mover, too. Big mover. This caught a little bit of action. Yep. I don't remember what dates. I don't remember. They might have been short dated. It wasn't anything special, but I know the stock. That's why I was, see, damn thing moves. October's, 75s. It wasn't a bad order. No earnings, right? Yeah, keep an eye on it. Maybe it moves from here. CLDR, yeah, it's just slow, you know? It's slow, but it's finally got a little bit of life to it. You know, it's a cheap stock, John. It's a cheap stock, but you can trade it when it catches action. It moves. Looks interesting too here, right? TNBN. Nope. Nope. That's another underbelly play. What they buy leaps, right, Sean, in this guy? Jesus Christ. It's a good looking stock. The solar names, they cooled off? No, come on, man. Come on. Oh my God. You got to be kidding me. Jesus Christ. The blue wave, my friends. Run, they opened up bull combos today in that run off a little dip. You just wanted my reaction. Run, you got a little dip. Probably be on new highs by Friday. What a move. What a move. Holy Christ. Yeah, Solar Edge. This is another name I remember so cheap. I didn't even know what the hell they did the first time I caught a sweep way back. Do you see these stocks? Do you guys see them? Like, you don't. Sometimes at night I bug myself out I can't believe some of these moves. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, look at this chart. And this is not just one. There's, you know how many names look like this? Ranchero, it can't go on forever. Okay, it can't go on forever. What are these charts going to look? Where's W going to 1,000? I mean, maybe you get all on 1999. They all split and go. The blue wave taking over the world. Yep. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. This is not a bad setup for this name. You know what I mean? I know it's up in the stratosphere, but you got a little breather here. Earnings. Right? This thing might have some kick before numbers. It looks appetizing. I'm not going to lie to you, Sean. This is not really my cup of tea, as you know, but you know, you don't get too many of these. You know, you don't get too many of these little pulls, and this thing didn't go yet. And their earnings, like, I don't understand how their earnings are so ridiculous. Their earnings, Sean, they're ridiculous. It's not like this thing is bleeding losses and is all hype. That was an earnings play. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. I give him credit, though. Talk about contrarian. If you were going to, listen, if you're an earnings player, I would take a shot on Bank of America. Highest gamma ever tonight. Yep. So that means we'll probably get a pull at some point here. Well, we got expiration too this week. JP Morgan. I know. I thought their numbers were good, I was hearing. And it didn't go anywhere, right? These things are just stuck. Yeah, usually you get that sticky price action the week of expiration here. iPod. What is that, a SPAC? Oh, my Lord. That's the other thing. You have SPACs that look like this. Later, Peter. Unconscious. There's a lot of things unconscious. Later, Trey. I'm going to wrap it up now anyhow. But yeah, if you're an earnings player, you know, you want to roll the dice. I mean, not only are you playing earnings, you're playing banks. You know, you're asking for trouble. Let's be honest. But, you know, that's a true contrarian play if you're going to roll the dice on Bank of America. Yep. All right, guys. So you know the playbook. All right, we keep doing, you know, musical chairs until we get a nice little pull, and then we'll see, and then we reevaluate. But in the meantime, we got to keep our heads, you know, our noses up and pay attention. I'll send my regards to Jules Ranchero. Have a good night, everybody. I will, Nick.